Hello to all. Thank you for connecting with us. This is Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business show. And we have here today somebody amazing. It's a good friend. Scott, thank you for accepting this invitation to be talking to our audience here. So this is great. This is awesome. I know Scott for almost a year now. So that is
Yeah,
incredible. And I know
it
that you are
is.
here
Thank you,
in
Alejandro.
Mexico too. So, hola.
Hola, bienvenidos todos.
Okay, Scott, I want to start. I know that you are helping people to become their own bank. That is amazing, and I want to learn that also here. So, tell me a little bit of yourself before all this started to happen in your life. Who you were, what were the things that you were struggling with, to start to understand. Okay, Scott is coming from this world, and this is the thing that he's doing now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot there, Alejandro. I was a corporate guy in the insurance and financial services industry for a good overall over 30 years, and and things were okay. What my big challenge was really being feeling locked into a bad marriage, and led to depression. And as long as there was a table, a roof overhead, things were reasonable. But then I got laid off from my job in 2007, right as the economy was starting to turn and go bad. And so now the roof overhead and food on the table was quite a challenge. And so it really aggravated the problems at home. And sad to say, it got to the point where I was self medicating. I became an alcoholic, really. And there was a point there when I was unemployed where, to have some income, I went to the animal hospital where my wife worked to help out in the kennel. So I was walking dogs and cleaning out poopy dog cages. I went from high level management in a major Fortune 500 company to literally cleaning up dog poop less than a year later. And so the depression got worse, the drinking got worse. Fortunately, I got back into the insurance industry in time. Um, but by then, the pattern, that cycle had really become entrenched. The marriage wasn't fixable. The drinking got more compulsive. And in that new job, I had the brilliant idea of sneaking in a bottle of vodka with me as I returned from lunch one Friday afternoon, and was drinking, was discovered and treated. And that was really my rock bottom moment, um, as far as the alcoholism goes. And the following Tuesday, I wrote out my suicide note. That was going to be it. I figured I was worth more, thanks to having an insurance policy myself. I was worth more dead than alive to my daughter, my then 14-year-old daughter. And so that was going to be it. Over the course of that day, it became obvious to me that God was reaching out to me and telling me, don't do that. And as things turned out, that day, November 3rd, 2015, that was going to be my suicide date, instead became my sobriety date. So that was really a new beginning for me, um, in getting back out of that hole
Wow.
that I needed to climb out of.
And what do you, okay, I know that you went from this, like, okay, you are laid off, and what do you think started to happen inside of you with that? Because you went like, okay, let's start to maybe just a drink right now to help
Mhm.
me a little bit. But what was all the process that you started?
Well, I mean, for me, the drinking was numbing the emotional pain um, of the marriage, the of being of the work situation, um, to the point where it became compulsive. To where, okay, now there isn't really a reason for it anymore. The marriage was over. I was uh, heading in a new direction. but still, now the compulsiveness really took over, and it's like being on that treadmill that you can't get off of until you hit that rock bottom point, and you know, okay, there's nowhere to go but up, um, and and you start to get some momentum from there. The emotional was heading in the right direction. The financial was still rough. Um, Bit by bit, piece by piece, you get more consistency and more momentum moving in that right direction.
And how you started to change that? Okay, to okay, I know that you're saying I was in my rock bottom moment, and how you started to see like, okay, I have to be somebody else now. How was that
Well, that
process?
was exactly it. I had to change. I had to come to the realization, my ex-wife was my catalyst. And that whole situation, it, it was something I was using as a crutch. It was something I was using as an excuse. Um, and I needed to take responsibility for that.
Mm,
Instead of blaming her, I had to say, I had to forgive her, which is very difficult for me. It was easy to say it. It was not so easy to mean it.
mm.
I had to mean it to put it behind me. And once I did that, it was a case of, all right, so now that that's behind me, I need to reinvent myself, move in this new direction where I'm not using any excuses. I'm only going to move forward from this point on.
Mm. And how long took that process to start to move along?
Well, the drinking stopped cold turkey with that moment, realizing what I was doing to myself. I had become a completely different person, a person that I didn't like, and rather than making those excuses, I need to move things in the new direction. Um, the first job I got after that point, after losing the one job, was was a job working for a local insurance agent. Didn't pay very well, but it kept me busy. It kept me mentally busy. My mind was full. That's what, and that was something very valuable. From that, I got into the sales world. What I knew, what my base of experience was the insurance and financial world. And I figured by now I'm pretty unemployable. So I need to go out in business for myself, get into the sales end. Didn't it wasn't a natural fit for me really, but since I did know the business, and in an instance like that, the desperation helps you, because it's like, okay, I'm not comfortable with this, but I've got no choice. I'm pushing forward, and I'm learning this, and this is the nature of the hole that I dug for myself. Is I need to figure this out, and I need to get past the discomfort and just make this work, whatever it might take.
And you started to, I know that you are like right now this part of a bank that can become a bank, and you can be the banker of your own life. So how you started to get that idea and to start to like, okay, now I can be helping with this, and you started to believe I can do it. I don't need somebody else, or I don't be need to be in a corporation to do it. How was that
Yeah.
process?
Well, about a year and a half ago, almost years ago, I was approached. I was pitched. So here I'm a life insurance broker, not really any different from any other life insurance broker out there. And I get approached by a business associate that I knew, with an approach, and it was pitched to me as the best way to help people get out of debt. And I'm like, okay, sounds interesting. Sounds like something that's needed, knowing what a huge problem debt is. But as I listen, my "this sounds too good to be true" alarm went off, because what he was telling me is that basically you can spend your dollars twice. You can spend it once to pay off your debt, and yet, even though you do that, those same dollars at the same time are going to earn interest.
Mm.
So you're saving and you're spending the same dollars at the same time. So like I say, this sounds too good to be true. The one question in my mind was, who does this? At that point, I didn't care what it did, the process of it. I didn't care how it worked. The only thing I cared about is who does this. If it's broke people that do this, I'm not going to spend a moment researching it.
Yeah.
But I was at least curious enough that I wanted to dig in and see who does this. And as I did this, I learned that banks and wealthy business owners and corporations use exactly this approach. It was a common theme that I kept seeing over and over again. And so it hit me that what I need to do is reverse engineer what works.
Mm.
Everybody views finances as a big mystery, that it's throw spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks. But banks and the wealthy have got it figured out. They know the trail to make money, and they've left clues, they've left breadcrumbs along the way that we can follow, and we can reverse engineer to know that we're on the right path. There's basically three mistakes that people make, Alejandro, with their money. One is trial and error, guesswork. That's a financial agnostic. They figure the financial truth is unknowable. There's no way you can figure it out. So it doesn't really matter what you do. Just try a little of this, try a little of that, and hopefully you find something that makes you feel good.
That's
The
the
second
majority, I
mistake, they're
believe.
broke friends. And then the second mistake they make is listening to their broke friends, even though they know they've got no idea what they're doing. That's a financial atheist. They figure, okay, there's no such thing as financial truth, therefore it doesn't matter who I talk to, so I'm just going to connect with friends, with relatives, with the people I can see and touch, because ultimately it doesn't matter. Third mistake is listening to one of those financial entertainers yell at you that their way is the only way and everything else is dumb. That's a financial cult. It's follow the leader, regardless of where the leader is going, what the basis is for what they're saying. But those three things don't work because they violate history and science. History shows us banks and the wealthy have got it figured out. They've already blazed that trail and they've left the breadcrumbs. So scientifically, we can reverse engineer them. That gets rid of the guesswork. It gets rid of the listening to your broke friends. And it gets rid of Dave Ramsey yelling at you to cut up your credit cards, work 3 jobs, and live on ramen noodles.
Mm.
You
Wow.
can just follow what works.
And how much time did it take to you, and why you think like, okay, this is exactly.
Yeah, it took months, and of course things that I learn on a regular basis. By no means was this a trail that I was figuring out completely on my own. I did have help along the way. But as far as structuring it as a process of reverse engineering, what that led me to see is that this is way more than just a get out of debt system. It's more a savings system. It's more of a platform from which you can invest in whatever areas you have an affinity for investing. It really helps you to create additional streams of income. It helps you to create safe, liquid, and tax-free accrual of money and distribution of money because of how safe, liquid, and tax-free it is. And while it did take me months to see all those different connections, it's really something that quickly helped me to be in a position of helping people who had been really down in their finances, as I had been. And to know what that feels like, to know the stress that puts you under when you've got when you've got bankruptcy, when you're on food stamps. I've experienced all that. I've lived through all of that myself. And I know better than anyone else that's in those circumstances today. I'm maybe just a little bit farther along in that process of climbing out of that hole, and I'm able to help them see that there is a light that they can reach for in making progress financially.
Okay, and if we have somebody that right now is here listening to this, even live or recording in the near future, and they are like, okay, I am struggling with my finances. I
Mhm.
am feeling like I am broke or almost broke, or so. What is that you can recommend, and what is exactly the time that they have to expect if they work with you, understanding all these things that you have figured it out right now? It's like, okay, if you are like this, you are going to do this. I don't know if we can do something like have some
Mhm.
idea, or how it works.
Yeah. Well, there is a basic structure of it, Alejandro, but I do personalize it according to that person's needs. As far as how long it'll take for them to get some traction with this, that can vary according to they have to fuel this vehicle. Um, One thing that I work with people on, there are a lot of financial professionals out there, Alejandro, that will show you beautiful projections of what they can do. They'll show you spreadsheets and say, look here, Alejandro, I can make you X% on such and such an investment. And then the thing is, they ask you after that, all right, so how are you going to pay for this? How are you going to put money into this account? Which I view as not what a financial professional should be doing. A financial professional should be providing you the way to pay for it. They should be finding inefficiencies in the way you're using money today and then showing you how you can reallocate those dollars in a more efficient direction so that you're using money more wisely without digging deeper into your pocket, without
Mm.
taking food off your table. Okay, I should be the one finding the money for you, for whoever, in order to put fuel in this tank. And so that's really the first step of my process, is looking holistically at people's finances. What are they spending, whether it be on investments, on insurance, on even their utilities bill, cell phone, all their different bills, and how can I help them to save on those different things? And if I find, say, $500 that we can reallocate in a more efficient direction, then okay, let's put $500 to fuel what I have, and here's what it'll provide for you. And let them make that decision. If someone else, if I'm able to find $800 for them, $1,000 or more for them, they'll get traction more quickly. But in both cases, they're able to make progress rather, that will help them to eliminate those debts, and that will help to get them savings with those same dollars at the same time. That's what really is the key. to getting off of that treadmill. The thing with the approach of getting out of debt where people go wrong today, first thing is they focus on getting out of debt. Getting out of debt is working your way up to zero. Who wants to be at zero?
Nobody.
Nobody. Okay, we need to look beyond that. How can we take that money that's going to go from the hole that we're in today, working up to zero, and at the same time use those same dollars to then jump to where we don't stay stuck at zero, to where we don't hit that glass ceiling. Getting up to zero, it's kind of like that fad diet where, yeah, we can lose the weight pretty quickly, but then what happens after that? We gain it right back. That's so common with people, that they focus on losing weight rather than focus on getting healthy. When financially speaking, we focus on getting out of debt rather than on financial independence, on passive income, on creating additional income streams. When that's what we focus on, now we're working past that glass ceiling of zero and we're progressing. We're getting ourselves set up for the future using a vehicle that's safe, liquid, and tax-free, and that really supercharges how we use that money to get there.
Yeah. And quick question. I know that when you are talking about money and the financials from the people, and you are talking about that right now, like if you start to believing myself in Scott, I am going to help you to see all the areas of improvement. But that means that you are going to see their numbers. How do you
Mhm.
gain the trust of the people that you want to work with, so they feel like, yeah, Scott is exactly the person that I feel comfortable to be sharing all these numbers without any issue.
Yeah. In several ways, Alejandro. First of all the data I take in stays inside my firewall. The data security steps are there. I've been there myself, and I understand where people have been, and I don't take control away from them. They keep control of their finances. And everything that I present to them, everything I show to them, it's their decision to make. When I show them how, okay, I've found these $500, this $1,000 that you're spending inefficiently today, that's what we're going to use to fuel this. So you're not taking money, you're not digging deeper into your pocket, you're not taking food off your table. I'm showing you how you can do this without any change in lifestyle, without cutting up the credit cards, working the 3 jobs, and living on ramen noodles. You're going to be able to use this without really changing your life, and help you to refocus what you're already spending efficiently. Money is a measurement. Money is numbers. I was a stats major in college. I've got the tendency to look very technically when I work with people on their money. And that's a good thing. I can show them specifics. But the thing is that money is also, it's an emotional thing. Every decision we make around how we use our money is driven by emotion. How is it going to make me feel if I make this major purchase, let's say of a new car? Is it going to make me feel better, or is it going to make me more worried about how am I going to make the payments? And we do that little cost benefit in our head, but it's ruled by emotion. Will the feeling of driving around in that new car make me feel better than the feeling of writing those monthly checks for the payment? And more often than not, that's how we make that decision. when I come along and I'm able to work with someone and show them the numbers and even show them how, okay, here's a column in the proposal I'm going to give you that shows you the emergency and emotional spending account that I'm setting up for you. And it's going to grow this much year by year so that you don't have to worry about what if there's an emergency that comes along. You're going to know, okay, this money is set aside for that, but not in a savings account that's getting you what, 0.1% interest now, but it's going to be the account that's going to provide you the safe, liquid, and tax-free return from which you're going to leverage your debt payoff, your investments, your savings. It's all there for you that you have control of every step of the way. And to be able to give someone that assurance that in the event of an emergency, they've got something, in the event that they want to use this to invest in some other way, they want to invest in real estate, in crypto, in mutual funds, in venture capital, I'm going to connect them to sources that will help them in those different areas. That gives a lot of reassurance on the emotional aspect because they know the numbers and they know they've got control of the numbers.
Awesome, Scott. This is great. And then, in this believing your business, we're almost at the end of the show today. But tell me, what is that you can say? Like, okay, you started to believe in yourself. You started to create this business that is really helping others to understand. I know that depends really on each case how much time it's going to take, but you have to decide now and start to make the decisions to really get out of where you are right now and the issue that you are going through right now. So how
Mhm.
much time you take is really depends on you. If you decide today and you start to work on that and start to do the things, it's important. If you are going to trust or not, that is exactly another thing that is going to help you.
Yeah.
So, this maybe a final thought that you can bring to the people right now that maybe it's like, this is interesting, but not sure, or maybe yes, maybe not. What do you think it's a good thing for them to visualize themselves like, okay, now I see what is exactly this, you know?
Yeah. One of the big challenges, Alejandro, is people who have debt and they feel like they're stuck, they feel like they're burdened by debt. They don't view themselves as they don't view themselves as having a bright financial future. They view themselves, it's unattainable for them. It's unrealistic. And I've been there. I had those same thoughts. Um, but by working with them, by showing the numbers, and by their working with someone emotionally has been there before, I'm able to help them see that yes, it is possible. And for many of them, that can help to turn a corner where they can see that it's possible. It's interesting how Roger Bannister, the first runner to break the 4-minute mark, running the mile, it was said it couldn't be done. It was said, some people said it was physically impossible. If someone actually did it, they would die of exhaustion, overheating.
Yeah.
He proved it could be done. And now it's commonplace in any competition. It's actually slow. It was only, and I forget the exact number, it was only like another month and a half before the second person did it. And then continually, it happens all the time now. They needed that one person to, yes, it could be done.
Mm.
And now there's all kinds of people that do it. Um, And that's how I look at it. With my reverse engineering that process and seeing how successful people do it, and they continue to leverage that tool for so much more than getting out of debt today. Um, and being able to show people that it's possible that they can copy that same process, reverse engineer that same process. It's really satisfying. It's uh, it's certainly productive in helping to get people past that problem of debt, past the emotion of feeling overwhelmed.
No, and I agree with you because really it's key to understand the first thing that everybody needs to listen sometimes is like, okay, I have this dream. Has somebody do it like or has done it before or not? This is the first
Mm-hmm.
time that it's being done, and a lot of the times somebody else already did it. And if you are struggling with debts right now, you are struggling with a lot of problems, and maybe you are in minus 100 million. I don't know how much are you right now, but there is people that already went through that and already went to a millionaire again. So that means that somebody already did it, and there is a way that you
Yeah.
can go out. And this is great, Scott, because it's like, okay, you didn't believe in yourself, you didn't know what to do, you were like believing more in the alcohol and other things before.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly you realize, no, I am somebody, I have been doing this for more than 30 years in different industries. I need to learn how to do it exactly for myself and for my customers. And you're here right now helping people to understand how to do it better and how to get out of the debt and the things that are like really like killing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Scott. This was
Oh,
a
thank
really
you.
good conversation, and I know that we need to continue doing this type of conversation to help people to understand financial is not something that is like, okay, it's only the bankers know, but I can know it also. It's not
Yeah.
something that only the mathematicians or people that like numbers can understand. But you can understand that if you have a good person that is helping you that knows exactly what to do. So thank you again, and thank you everybody that is listening to this, and see you next time.
Thank you, Alejandro.